Hey, I'm not so Ace Trainer, and when is Pokémon Legends Arceus taking place? Let's get into it. Ever since the reveal of Pokémon Legends Arceus, that people have been creating theory after theory, trying to figure out how far into the past will the game take us. It took me a while, but I finally have one of my own. First, let's take one thing out of the way. I will not use the anime as an argument for this theory, since the anime is not canon. So, we'll not talk about the old ball from the Voice of the Forest movie. It might have been an inspiration for the Steam Balls, but that is just that. So, as always, let's take a look at what we do know and try to figure out what we don't know. Basically, all we have is the trailer. The trailer doesn't show us a lot, mainly focusing on letting us know two things. The game will have a huge open world, and it will be set in the past. My main focus here will be the setting of the game itself. We're looking at a very wild looking Sinnoh region with only Mount Coronet as a recognizable landmark. So, the only thing we can take away from there is that this happened before the region's population began to expand. The other place we see is what seems to be our starting town. While we are not shown a lot of it, we do see some of its architecture. And that's where we can base our theory on. Looking at all the buildings, we do see that they are based on traditional Japanese housing, topped with roof tiles. This alone lets us know that we're past a prehistoric period. Then, we can see that all the houses are made of wood. Wood housing in Japanese architecture became the norm at the end of the Heian period, which is the pre-feudal period. From architecture, we will jump into decoration. Judging by the decoration inside the building where the starters are shown, we see that it has a more modernized look to it. For this reason, we can assume that we are not at the beginning of the medieval period in Japan, but nearing its end. We're not past it, at least not looking at the outside of the buildings, but we might be approaching a change in times and costumes. So far, everything falls in place with most theories. This would place the games 400 or 500 years into the past. But there's one thing that I haven't seen anyone take into consideration. We do not live in the Pokémon world, and evolution and history work in a very different way there. While we can base our theory on their real-world inspirations, we can't really fully form it just by looking at our world. To really understand when the games will take place, we'll have to take a look at Galar. The history of Galar tells us that the darkest day occurred 3000 years ago, which is strange since we can clearly see from the tapestries that happened during what would be the medieval period of the region. The medieval period in the UK, where the region is based on, ended less than 600 years ago. For this same reason, I'm looking at the medieval period in Japan and placing it at least 3000 years into the past, when transposing it into the Pokémon world. Now, if that table at the start of the trailer is the same as the office table, I would lean my guess towards the 2000 years mark, since gas lighting became used in Japan already into the pre-modern period, or Edo period. With that in mind, since I don't want to say a specific number of years, I'll offer a time frame. I believe the events of the game occur between 2000 and 3000 years before the events of the original Sinnoh games, with 3000 years being there mostly because of how much they like that number. That does it for my theory, which can easily fall apart when we get to see another trailer. Nothing is set in stone in the Pokémon world, and there is a lot of contradicting lore in the games. But so far, this is what I believe in. Do you agree with my theory? Do you have one of your own? Let me know in the comments down below. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, all the links are in the description. Remember to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one.